Hi, welcome back to our channel, The Exceptional Group, where we equip you with the skills necessary to transform your ordinary to exceptional. So today we're beginning our first session of understanding the poverty mindset and what that means. Last week we did a very brief introduction into what it means and how it applies to you and I in our day-to-day life. And so today we're going to be really getting into the bones of what we're looking at when we're talking about understanding a poverty mindset. Just to remind you that a poverty mindset refers to the way in which you and I process information, process interactions, basically the way we process most things. If I was to try and describe what a poverty mindset would be, something like this. Let's say, for example, you go to your favorite shop to buy your favorite thing. Let's just say it's a pair of, I don't know, Louis Vuitton shoes, just to say for argument's sake. And in your hand you have a purse and it's full of money, and that money is exactly what you need to purchase that item. And then as you approach the pay desk or the cashier's desk, the person says, okay, this is going to cost X amount of money. And just before you give them the money, you open your purse and you literally pour all the money on the floor and completely ignore it and completely have no regard for it. That'd be a pretty crazy thing to do, right? Because if you've saved and you've invested, you want to be able to spend that and enjoy that. But if you throw it away, then what you're able to enjoy is severely limited. And it's exactly the same with a poverty mindset. A poverty mindset refers to a way of thinking that actually undermines the very things you say you want to achieve, you say you want to see, you say you want to do. And the reason why I'm emphasizing on saying, there's a saying that says, excuse the pun, talk is cheap. And how many of you know that it's not enough to say what you want? You actually have to do it. And if you remember last week when we looked at the introduction to understanding the poverty mindset, one of the things we looked at was that how we think affects our behavior, it affects our choices, it affects our thought processes, it affects basically who we are. And so today we're going to be continuing looking at understanding the poverty mindset. And so if that's something that is of interest to you, stay tuned. So there are many reasons why people allow themselves to be dominated by a poverty mindset, because it's quite interesting. You know the way you think is wrong, and yet we allow it to dominate, to control, to manipulate, to dictate how we live our lives. So what are some of the reasons why a poverty mindset is able to dominate our lives? Well, number one, often your background, my background and our upbringing can be crucial factors in moulding us into who we eventually become. I can think of so many examples for myself growing up when I was told things by people who mattered that affected how I viewed myself and affected what I thought I could achieve. Now, some of it was conscious and I was fully aware of it, but most of it was subconscious. And very often what we do is affected by what we're not really aware of. If you're a reflective person, like a self-reflective person, you may be aware of it, but as I said, it's not enough being aware of it, it's actually being able to do it. It may be something that a parent said, it could be something that a teacher said, it could be something that a group of people said, it may be something that happened to you growing up where you had no control over it, and that act or acts kind of defined you. And so what happens to us, experiences, do affect our mindset, and in particular help build that stronghold of a poverty mindset. And whilst these factors are important to help us, excuse me to say, not use those things as an excuse for why we're still behaving the way we are doing. Underestimating your potential is key in understanding a poverty mindset. When we underestimate our potential, that's probably one of the major reasons why we don't achieve the things that we are supposed to do. Last week I made reference and it said, for as a man thinks or a woman in their heart, so are they. So in other words, how you think about yourself, how you see yourselves will actually affect how motivated you are to aspire beyond your self-image. How you see yourself will affect how motivated you and I are to see ourselves beyond our self-image. A poverty mindset means that we become satisfied with living lives on a level that actually devalues us because of the low opinion we have of ourselves. You know, the self-doubt and the self-talk we normally partake in when we're in a situation that demands something of us. And it's all very well what we say in public, but it's really what you say to yourself about yourself when nobody's looking. Whilst no one should overestimate themselves, we certainly should not underestimate ourselves either. Never underestimate your potential. Never. Each individual, you and I, we have been created with a mind with almost limitless potential, unique to our creativity and our desires. You know, your potential is like a battery. How many of you had that situation where you're watching television, you go to switch over and the remote control doesn't work? It's not because the remote control is defective, it means the batteries need changing. And in the same way, our potential are like batteries. And if we do not use our potential, in other words, we do not put the right battery in, no matter how many buttons we press, it's not going to work. And in the same way in our lives, if we don't understand our potential, no matter how many projects and things that you try, it's never going to work. At the moment of resistance, you don't think, oh, what's the point? Or before you even start it, your self-doubt can cause you to second guess yourself and convince yourself of so many reasons why you shouldn't do it. You know, you might be sitting here and you might be thinking, there might be something that you want to do, something you want to achieve. And the first thing you say to yourself is, what if it doesn't happen? But how you see yourself, what you actually believe about yourself, not what you say you believe, because we're all very good at putting up our front and pretend we're confident, but what you really say, what you really believe about yourself affects your self-image, how you see yourself. And it's impossible for a person to move beyond their self-image. It's impossible. You might say all the right things, you might do all the right things, but internally, if that self-image is where you underestimate your worth and your quality, eventually you'll become satisfied with living your lives on a level that actually devalues you because of a low opinion that you may have about yourself. And that doesn't mean that you're living in poverty. It doesn't mean you don't have a great career, because there are many people who have a very low self-image of themselves, and so they try to overcompensate by being the best at everything they do, but internally they're not at one with who they know they're supposed to be. So they're surrounded by these things, but they're never really satisfied, because those things will never define who they're supposed to be. And whilst we should never overestimate ourselves, we should certainly not underestimate ourselves. You have a God-given potential. It resides within you. And each person has the creativity and the potential that's almost limitless. You know, I once watched a film called Limitless, where this guy was able to take this drug and it caused the synapse in his brain to produce more and more neutrons, and so he was able to do amazing things because he was able to tap into a certain part of his brain. Now obviously that was a fantasy, it was a film, but in reality what you and I are capable of compared to who we are and how we've been created, it is limitless. There's very little that we cannot achieve if we're able to understand who we are and how we're made. So that potential will result in tremendous achievement when properly harnessed. If you have a defeatist way of thinking, in other words a poverty mindset, you won't recognise your potential. You will underachieve in almost every area of your life. You know, a poverty mindset is so bad that it means that we can even become dependent on others as a result of our mindset, where we expect other people to do things for us which they're not responsible for, but we're actually supposed to do for ourselves. Now let me ask you this question, and I want you to just pause and answer me honestly. Do you underestimate your potential? Think about the opportunities that you may at times refuse to grasp. It might be a job prospect, it might be a course, it might be to lose weight, it might be to strike up a conversation with someone you're actually quite attracted to, but you're thinking, oh no, they'll never want to talk to me. It might be to reach out to somebody. Think about the opportunities you have within your environment. In which areas do you need to become more self-reliant and self-sufficient? Underestimating your potential will result in you failing to see all that is actually available to you for you to get a better quality of life and increase your productivity. When we have that mindset, it means that we don't grasp opportunities that life presents to us. And these are opportunities where we could improve ourselves and improve our circumstances. So today, we looked briefly at understanding our potential and how that mindset, a poverty mindset, can affect our ability to release that potential. So next time you pick up the controls and the batteries don't work, just have a think about your potential and if it is working to the level it's supposed to be. Thanks again for watching and for all your support and encouraging words. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Why not subscribe, and you'll be able to receive notifications if you hit that bell every time we upload new content. Blessings to you, and remember, you've got what it takes to be exceptional. Doesn't matter what happened yesterday, you've always got today.